Hi everybody, this is Clarine from In Reenie's Room, and today we're going to make a fun little Valentine card. It's actually called a pop-up block card because it's a series of these little blocks. You can see through them, and then they fold up and slide into a little envelope. And this is the front. This is the back. Nice big spot for your sentiment or whatever you want to put back there. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to do this in a couple different sections. We're going to start with the base first. And I'm going to have you cut out one piece that is 9.5 by 4.5. This is going to be our back piece. And then you're going to score it at 2 inches and 4 inches, which I already did. And then you just fold it over in half and then fold this up top flat back. And then you have kind of like a Z type card. It'll sit like that. So that is going to be our base. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut out the sentiment parts, and then we'll get to the little blocks in a minute. So we're going to need 2 background pieces, and that's these. And they are going to be 5.25 by 4.25. And they are going to attach right here. You just center it. And then also in the back. So let me just go ahead and get out my easy runner. Part of this I'll be putting together with you, the other little section when we get there. I did it ahead of time. So I'll just center that. And when it's all lined up, you press it down. Now you can also use tape runners with this. You could use glue. I chose not to because sometimes it gets a little lumpy and heavy, and I didn't want that. So this goes on the back. And this is just kind of framing our sentiment piece. Yeah, that took shape pretty quickly, didn't it? And then we're going to cut out of plain white paper, we're going to cut out a sentiment that's going to go on the back. And this piece measures 4 inches by 5 inches. And that's just going to go right back here. Let me attach that. And it goes right in the middle. There we go. Now you can leave this plain. You can decorate it any way you want. On my finished one, I saved part of my ephemera and just put a little corner with some flowers and leaves in it. Okay, the next part we're going to do is this front panel here. And that one measures 4.25 by 1 7/8 less 1/16. So there's a couple measurements here that have that either plus or minus the 1/16. Those are really important, so don't forget to use those. So I'm just going to show you in the case of this, which is 1 7/8 less the 1/16. You'll bring your paper over and line up the edge. Look at this, so you can see that. With the, what does it say? 1 7/8. All right, so I would line it up with the 1 7/8, which is right there. And then as I pull it right to the right, because I'm going less, it's that next tiny, tiny little marker. and then that's where I would cut it. Now when we get to the one that says plus, let's say it's 2 inches plus something, you bring your edge over to the 2, and then you use that first little tick mark up here, and that's the 1/16. And they do make a big difference, so don't ignore those. And then on top of that is going to go our pattern piece, which measures 4 inches by 1 5/8. So I'm just going to put those on real quick. And it doesn't matter if you are, if you put the pattern one down first and then mount it onto the red. Whichever way you want to go is fine. Just be careful when you're cutting these out if you have a directional pattern like I do on here. I don't want the owls upside down. I want them this way. So when you cut the longer measurement, make sure that you have it going the right way. And this one is just going to get centered right on that front panel. And that'll go right like that. There we go. There's nothing on here, that one's plain. And there's your base. I'm going to set that to the side for a minute. And now we're going to be doing these little block pieces that are going to go down here. And I'm cutting them out of red, which matches the background of the card. And we're going to be cutting out 3 sets. So one will be 5 by 3 1/4. Flip it over and score it at 1 1/2, 3, and 4 1/2. And that's going to give us the larger panel. Then the second one is 4 by 2 1/2, and you score it at 1, 2 1/2, and 3 1/2. And that will give us this middle section right here. And then the last one is 3 by 1 1/2, and you're going to score that at 1/2, 2, and 2 1/2, and that'll give us this little one. So I'm going to set those over to the side. I want to show you something that's kind of an important step, because then you don't get lost where this glue is going to go. I put a little X on this first panel of all 3 of them, because those are the ones that are going to be attached up here, and that's where it's going to get glued on at. So that's just a reference X for you, as well as the right hand side, the 1/2 inch, there's an X there, and there's an X on the middle one, and on this little guy, when you fold those edges, the X is going to go on the outer 1/2 inch. So that's why the X is there. And that'll make sense in a little bit. And then you just fold and burnish all these edges. And I did that ahead of time. And this is what you're going to have. You're going to have this big piece. There's your second piece. Remember, the ones that are the 1/2 inch ones go on the right. And this is that little bitty one. There's a 1/2 inch, but you want to use the 1/2 inch that's on this side. So this is where the glue is going to go, on that X, not on this panel, but on that one. And now let's cut these little pattern pieces that are going to go in the middle. This is the white one, and you're going to cut one that is 3 by 1 3/8 minus 1/16. The second one is 2 1/4 plus 1/16, and that's by 1 3/8 of an inch. And then your third one is 1 1/4 plus 1/16, and that's a square. So I'll put that over here. And I went ahead and these are the ones I cut out, but I went ahead and glued them down here just to save time. And then here's the little pattern pieces that go on the top. And those are 2 3/4 by 1 1/8. And the middle one is 1 1/8 plus the 1/16 by 2 1/8. And then the third one is that little square. It's 1 1/4 minus 1/16. And I already glued those on there so you don't have to do that. Okay, isn't this coming together quickly? I love this little card. You know, you can change the theme. This would make a great Halloween card, I think, or just kind of a birthday card. All right. So what we're going to do, now for this part you can use either glue or your tape runner. I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner. And what I'm going to do is put my tape on this section that has the X. And I'm using a wider runner, so if you use the little tape runners, you might want to put 3 strips just to give it a good foundation. And I'm going to lay my card flat. This section is going to be centered top to bottom right here. I'm putting it up against where it's going to fold, and I'm centering on the 2 sides. And then I'm just taking this whole section up here at the top, and I'm bring that down a bit, and then I'm folding it over, keeping this edge up here against that, and then just pressing down. And see how that adhered to that side. Now this side is where we're going to put glue or the runner tape, whichever you're using. And go ahead and put the tape on there. And what you're going to do is you're just going to fold this over. And it'll lay nice and flat like that. And that's going to go. And do it this way. Fold it over. And I'm not sure that that's going down right. How did I do that? Okay, I just fold this piece back like that. It's almost like folding it in half. And then I'm just laying that flat. And I'm bringing this whole section over like that and pressing down. And then put a little more pressure here, and that adhered that first little corner, like that. Then we're going to put in the middle section. We're going to do the same thing. This is the wider section that's going to fit right in here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it right up against this edge down here, making sure that it's equal on each side for my pattern paper that I'm setting this on. And then I just bring this whole section over like that and press. Okay, and that is adhered right in there. And then this other little X that gets the adhesive. I'm just taking this whole section, bringing it back onto itself, and then I'm just bringing the whole piece forward. Right, come on. All right, here this comes. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, okay, fold this here, and then this comes over. This whole piece, like that. You know, I am putting it in the wrong place. This is supposed to lay here. I'm sorry, I'm messing up on this. some reason. Okay, so I laid that flat. I brought this over to put the pressure on there. There we go. I almost have to laugh. I've watched 2 different videos on how to do this, and both of them had struggled with it, and I thought, oh, I got it made, but now I'm struggling with it. So I'm hoping that this is coming out clear to you. So this is the last one, and on this one, it's the shorter edge here that's going to go up against that. And I'm going to go ahead and put the sticky on there. So I'll bring this over, line it up, make sure these sides are equal, and just bring this down, and then that picks up that third one. And then this one, you just kind of fold it in half on itself, lay it down, and then there it is. Oh goodness, I'm glad it turned out. I was getting a little worried there for a second. Okay, so once you finish that, then we're going to do some decorating. And I cut out some little flower ephemera and some leaves. These leaves are from a punch. The background paper and the little flowers actually came from an Etsy Designer kit by Laurie Furnell, and it's called Love Bug, which I thought was cute. Now I don't need the stems, so I'm taking the stems off. And some of these I put on with pop-ups, and some of them I just glued down, depending on where we're putting them. So let me get out my glue dots. And I started here first. I also made a little banner, and I printed it up in photograph paper so that it would be nice and shiny. And I wanted that to go streaming across here. Not necessarily at a perfect angle, but just a happy little Valentine's Day. So I did that with a pop-up. I'll put those across here. And kind of in the middle. And I put it about there, like that. And then the flowers, I used 2 of the big ones. Oh, come on, pop up. There we go. And I just put one up here. That. And I put another one next to it. I've got a couple different sizes here, so you can do this part however you want it done. And put that one about like that. And then I used glue on this part just because it's going to lay flat on these leaves. So put some glue on the back here. Oh, come on, glue. Looks like my glue doesn't want to come out. Let me see. Oh, there we go, that's enough. Okay, so I'll put some glue on here. Keeping in mind, you can put it wherever you want on this side, but you don't want to go over the edge on the top or the bottom, because you're going to have to put this in the envelope. So I just push that down there. Put another one under the big flower. This is an old stamp, a die actually that I've had for so long. I don't even know where I got it. And then I'm going to put a smaller flower in the center just to give it some dimension. Yeah, this one's a little bit smaller. Actually, it looks like I have 3 sizes of flowers. And I'll just put that one right there. There you go. See how that's going to lay nice and flat when you put it in the envelope? And let me just show you the finished product. You don't need to watch me glue and paste all that. This is our pop-up block card when it's all done. And actually, there you have it. So you can arrange, I did put some little rhinestones on here. You could do that, or you could use stickles. That's always good. And then on the back, I had saved some of the flowers and I used pop-ups to put that on there. Alrighty. So there you have it. Thank you so much for coming by today.